Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a podcast brought to you by Civic Voice, Inuka Kenya Nisisi, and the Elephant, about a national descent now known as the Gen Z Revolution.
In a democracy, your voice becomes a vote. But what happens when that voice becomes a target? Yusuf is my name, and Shakira Wafula is our guest today. All right, Shakira, we are here, and just to ask you, it is at the peak of the demonstrations. Everything is kind of rolling up on a faster pace.
We are not going anywhere. We are rejecting the finance bill. Parliament tutafika. Niskume. I'm here for Kenya. I'm here for my people. I'm here for your rights. Nitoe. Nitoe, Baba.
Happened to see you in a confrontation with one of the policemen, and something that it's something that got the attention of so many people. And one thing that I happened to ask myself, and this is a question that I'm asking to you again: what was the conversation? What were you discussing with the policeman, this guy here?
Were we discussing? We were not discussing.
It was not a discussion.
It wasn't a discussion. It was the second day of the protest.
Yes.
Occupy Parliament.
Yeah.
And we were having this back and forth. Tunasonga mbele, polisi wanaturudisha nyuma. So me and the guys who were around that area, we said, when the police come again, we are not going to move back.
Yeah.
And so the police came, and unfortunately some of us did go back, but me, I was like, I've already decided, so I'm going to stay here. And so the policemen started threatening me, saying they're going to deal with me. One of them was even lifting his rungu, anataka kunipiga.
Yes.
And that is when that viral moment was recorded. I was like, fine, if you want to beat me, go ahead. If you want to remove me from here, go ahead. But I know I'm not doing anything illegal. And that I'm here for Kenya, I'm here for my people, I'm here for your
So
rights.
ilikuwa ni karibu kuendane, karibu kiumane.
Hey, bwana, my heart was, I don't know, I was so scared, but at the same time, I was like, I mean, if you see that I'm actually doing something wrong and you don't see any sense of why we are here out on the streets, actually fight us. And I was hoping that they don't actually fight me because I don't have the energy.
You don't have the energy to fight back.
3 policemen, I think there are 4 policemen. So it was like, I'm daring you, but please don't do what I'm daring you to.
And I think from the same, when you happen to watch the same video, the police that was just standing next to you, it kind of someone who is an early millennial or a late Gen Z kind of, because it's someone who is still young. So it was something like kind of, which conversation or what is it that is happening here that nipige, remove me from here.
Yeah. Also, I feel like the fact that I'm a lady and I had my scarf on, it was like, the guys didn't anticipate that level of resolve from a person like me.
Yeah, true.
They'd assume as a Muslim woman, I'd be like cowering down, running away. And I think also the realization that they're not paid enough to be handling such nonsense. Because I mean, he rolled his eyes at the end. So it was like, I'm not paid enough for this.
And he had to turn back. He had to look around. Is there someone who is supporting me or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. And apart from that, apart from the Shakira that we happen to know, apart from that, maybe someone has known, because I think that's the time when you came to the peak. That's the time we knew, like, Shakira Wafula, who are you? Who is this Shakira that maybe we need to know today?
Well, my most important role in this life right now is that I'm a mother.
Yes.
I have a beautiful 7-year-old son.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm a fitness instructor professionally, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in exercise and sports science. I'm in my final year at Kenyatta University.
Yes.
As a result of the Reject Finance Bill protests last year, I have become one of the key advocates for good governance and human rights and justice. It's not, to be honest, it's not a path I chose for
Yes.
myself. I've been engaging with governance and the political space passively.
Yeah.
But since the viral video, I tried to run away from it actually for a while, but then I realized this is probably an opportunity to embrace and give voice for the kind of Kenya that we are fighting for.
Okay. So you are those of who never draw back. Mbele kuzuri.
I hope so. I hope so. At least that is the kind of person I hope to be. Yeah.
Okay. And just surrounding around working, starting from that time when you came to the peak, you are known to the nation. And I believe right now everyone tends to know like Shakira. Ukipita mahali utajulikana, Shakira has been here also.
Yeah.
What's the core beliefs about people's power that drives your activism, and especially around the area of elections? Because all these, it tends to surround politics. It's an area of politics.
Yeah.
So what are the core beliefs that tend to drive you?
For me, the most important thing is that every human being deserves dignity.
Yes.
And the current state of our country, politics and governance, has denied a lot of us dignity.
Yeah.
You need to have connections, or you need to bribe somebody or pay someone so that you can get basic healthcare, basic sanitation, basic education. And it's important that as a Kenyan,
Yes.
just because I'm a Kenyan, I deserve to be here and I deserve to excel in this country. So basic human dignity, equity and equality. And as a woman, a Muslim woman at that, is the elevation of the woman in society.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people keep speaking that, oh, the girl child has been elevated too high and now the boy child is suffering. But I feel like we are still in a strongly patriarchal and misogynistic society.
Yes.
And we need to not only level the playing field, but ensure that somebody's gender and somebody's religion and somebody's tribe does not determine how they move in the society, in terms of what they are able to access and the level of success that they are able to achieve.
Yeah, you happen to mention dignity, and then when it comes to the awarding of maybe anything to do around empowerment. Yesterday I was just going through social media, that's X, initially Twitter, and I happened to come across a post that was saying, we live in a country and in a society whereby for you to gain access to any, maybe a job opportunity or any empowerment form, you must be knowing someone.
Yeah.
And for you to reach the someone you know, you must be having something to give to the watchman. After the watchman, I have to give something to the secretary. And after the secretary, I have to give someone to the PA. Do you believe that's the country that we are in currently? That's the environment that we are operating in?
Unfortunately, yes. The term "you should know people," ama jua watu, it's so common because that is the reality we are living in.
Yes.
I am yet to meet an individual who hasn't needed to bribe somebody or needed to look for a connection so that they can get a service from our country. An example is passport application.
Yeah.
I applied for a passport and I had to wait over 6 months.
6 months?
To get not just biometrics, to get, what is this they do? What is the word? I forget. They need to check if you're a citizen of this country. And it happens to Muslims especially.
Yeah.
So just for me to get an appointment so that they can go get me through this interview and ask me these questions and do this investigation, it took 6 months. And even before I got this appointment, I had to go back home to my parents and ask, like, do you have a friend? Do you know anyone who works at Nyayo House so
Yes.
that they can help me push for this? And unfortunately, this is what happens. Even applying for birth certificates, now going for passports, looking for a job, getting admission at schools. Unfortunately, that's how our country works.
You must follow the process of lazima ujue mtu.
Lazima ujue mtu.
And you happen to mention that maybe the process is kind of delayed because of you are a Muslim.
Yeah.
So is it on the basis of religion or what?
There's a lot of different factors, and that's why I'm saying, for me, equity and lack of bias with whatever identity is attached to you. I am a woman. I have been in spaces where I've been denied services, or services to me have been limited on the basis that I'm a woman.
Yes.
I've been in spaces where services have been limited to me on the basis that I am a Muslim. I've been in spaces where somebody looks at me and they're like, oh, your name is Wafula, or oh, your name is Wanjera, so I'll offer you service because of your name.
Of your name.
Yeah.
Siasa za Kenya.
Mambo ya identity politics, it's just, I don't know how we got here, to be honest, but I really hope we are able to work around this thing of who are you, where are you from, who do you know, so that you can be helped.
I think it's something that is kind of rooted, and maybe if I can say the rootedness, it started from the invention of the country, like when we had Kenya after independence. Like that's the time when we had this thing of tribal whatever kind of finding its roots. And given that now we are at this level, it's kind of, we're just seeing the fruits, but the roots themselves, they're kind of somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I keep saying, as a country, we need to heal, not even as a country, as a society, as an African society, we need to heal from the effects of colonization. Because even with the independence we were given, we were not truly given independence. It was designed, it was orchestrated in such a manner that it landed us here where we are right now. So we need to heal from the impact of colonization, and what we are living in right now is neo-colonization. So we also need to find a way out of that as well.
Okay, then with that, I believe that with independence, we need first to find independence within ourselves.
Yes,
before we call ourselves an independent country.
Definitely.
Okay, then just surrounding yourself, your activism and everything, what are some of the most significant personal risks that you've happened to face going along with your work? And of course, with the all challenges that are coming, how are you able to navigate the same challenges, given that still we are seated right here now? Yeah.
I'm proud to say that I'm somebody who is strongly rooted in my values and who I am as a person.
Yes.
And for that reason, it has been difficult to shake me or to remove me from this path that I found myself on. My biggest challenge has been, should I say, slander. There's a lot of slander about me on the internet because I mostly using the digital space for my advocacy.
Yes.
So nimeitwa single mother, nimeambiwa niliharibu ndoa ya mtu, I've been told mimi ni malaya, all kinds of abuse and slander on me. And sometimes it hurts because I mean, I'm a human being, I have feelings. These are people abusing you and using this foul, vile language.
And of course, with all the abuse you have in mind, like at some point you've kept yourself at the forefront of championing for it.
Definitely. So that has actually been my biggest challenge. I remember there was a time Gaidho got people kunisalimia. I had to switch off my phone for a week because I couldn't use my phone. I was getting messages and calls of just people threatening me and abusing me. And also in the same regard, my security. At some point, I don't feel safe amongst Kenyans because they have been directed to believe that I'm a bad person and so they should turn against me. But most importantly, it's from the government. There's a time enforced disappearance and abduction was really serious.
Yeah.
And I even noticed, especially earlier on during the protest, when now people had started learning who I am, I noticed that I was being trailed by what I assume are state agents. And there was a car parked out even where I lived for a while before I was able to raise alarms and, ask our security guards to, question how comes they've been there for
some time.
They seem like they were monitoring my movements and surveilling me.
Yes.
Something else is now coming, just living the public life. I didn't decide that I want to be known. So even in some cases, I want to be somewhere and not really have people know who I am, but
Yeah.
it's unavoidable. You go to spaces you're supposed to be relaxing, having a good time, but somebody identifies it. It's like you can't even relax in peace anymore.
With that, I'm sure, given that every new person, like, they tend to meet you, given that your face has been online, on Twitter, whichever platform, the social platform. So every new person that meets you, and given this space, people be like, I want to take a photo with Shakira.
Yeah.
Like, this, you don't have a private life.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
have you been able to deal with such a situation?
It's honestly, it's just looking at the bright side of it, because
Yes.
being known is what has kept me safe all this time.
True.
If I remember during one of the protests, we were being attacked by goons, and if it wasn't for the Boda community in CBD identifying me and saying, oh, this is Shakira, we have to help her, I don't think ningekuwa
It
hapa
could be
leo.
another story.
It would have been another story. And even back at home where I live, especially last year, the earlier days, if I stayed 2 days, people haven't seen me, they'd come to my estate and they start asking the security, what happened to Shakira? I haven't seen her walking around. So looking at how being known has helped me, I've been to restaurants and spaces where I'm being told, don't pay. This is a thank you for what you do for us as a country. And just focusing now on the good side. And I feel like being known has also helped spread the message of a better Kenya and justice. Because anywhere I am, people are like, oh, when you Gen Z, face of courage. Like, I represent somewhat giving people hope that our country can be better. And despite now the challenges that I face, I choose to focus on the positive aspect of
Okay.
it.
And given the online spaces that you've been in, there's someone who happened to say, like, in Kenya, the most unfortunate part for you is to find yourself being abused online.
Yeah,
it's something
it's
that can take away your mind, can lead you to some cases, maybe you're thinking of something else. For you, how have you been able to manage this? Umeitwa single mother, whichever the dirty name that you happen to mention. How have you been able to manage this? Because mimi nakwambia, ningekwambia, it could be another confrontation with someone, but how have you been able to tackle that?
I mean, sometimes wanachagua mtu na nashuka na yeye vibaya. I know, sometimes people would assume that ati nitakuwa mpole, I'll take it in grace and be nice. So sometimes that doesn't work.
Ikue.
Unachagua tu mtu mmoja, and seriously, I've been at a point where I'm like, let me look. And then I go into somebody's profile, look at the social media, I look at where if I talk about it hurts them most.
You identify the weak points.
I'm not even proud to say this, but that is what I do. I identify it, na nashika yeye, na naanguka na yeye, until it's like you can't come back from that. But a lot of the times, I've noticed most of these people who are out here using foul languages and abusing you, it's people who have their own pain. They have their own problem. So ignoring it sometimes also works. And not, like I mentioned earlier, I am somebody who's rooted in my values. Like, I know and accept myself for who I am. So it really takes a lot of energy for somebody to like shake me and make me feel like, by the way, I shouldn't be speaking out or things like that. So yeah, you just, every situation is kind of different, and the fact that I'm able to continue showing up every day because I know the kind of country that I want. I know why I speak out every day,
Yes, yeah.
why I am loud and proud about it in the first place. So sometimes it's taking each situation as it comes, and yeah,
Yeah.
just
I think
keeping
the
the
most
faith.
principal thing is online people should just heal.
Uh,
To avoid having such a kind of abuse,
it's
throwing words to
true.
people.
It's true because I mean, you can imagine if for example, you're a young man, you are able to get the privilege of studying until university,
Yes.
and now you're out here looking for a job. Years on end, you're not getting a job. I've had a lot of young people complaining they're not able to start families because they can't even take care of themselves. So how do they start taking care of people?
Yeah.
And then you just see this lady online, and a lot of people assume that I don't work hard for I mean, it's by fluke that I am where I am
Where
today,
you
to
are,
be
yes.
honest. But
Yeah.
it's not that I sit down and do nothing and wait for opportunities to come to me. I do put effort on my side, and it has turned out the way it has turned out for me.
Yeah.
So there's an aspect of what does she have that I don't have,
That I don't
or
do.
what is she doing that I'm not doing,
Yes.
so that I can be able to access all this. So there is, to be honest, there is a pain because of the current situation in our country, and sometimes I try to be empathetic to people's situation, and that's why I'm telling you, sometimes I go through somebody's social media to understand who they are. And if I just find this is somebody who's just foul and vile for no apparent reason, huyo ndo naamua naanguka na yeye kabisa. But we do really need to heal as a nation. And that healing can only start from changing the governance that we
Yes.
have, and now working towards justice, not just for the people who are affected this year and last year in the protests. We have a whole history of people who've had injustices, and they haven't been able to recover from that. Talk about post-election violence, talk about
Yeah.
flood victims, talk about people who've been internally displaced from boundary conflicts and things like that. We even have families from the colonial era, Mau Mau families. Some of these people, they're still suffering as a result of what happened to them during the colonial period. So we do have a lot of healing to do.
Yeah, watu wana makovu mengi sana. Okay, just from what you've happened to mention in terms of the insecurities, we have the kidnappings, the killings, and of course the abductions. Do you think it tends to derail the movement that we had initially, the Gen Z movement, or did it fuel the movement to a great extent?
At the beginning, it somewhat fueled the movement because it was like you're going to abduct us, you're going to kill us.
Yes.
So we are going to come out and show you there's no way you can
You
kill
can
all
do
of
that,
us.
yeah.
There's no way you can abduct all of us. But I feel like it reached a certain point. Mostly I feel like after the past Sabasaba this year, the fact that almost half of the country was in a lockdown because of the police manning various parts of the country to
And I
ensure
think
that
it's something
no
that
protests happen.
they tended to do very early in the morning.
Yes, they started very early in the morning, but then unfortunately they ended up going to people's residential area, and people were killed in their homes. You have the case of that young girl, Bridget. Is
Yes.
it Bridget Njoki? She was barely 13 years old, and she was killed while watching TV in her house. And after that, over 400 young people were arrested in various parts of the country, and they were given weird charges. About 70 of them were charged with terrorism.
Actually.
You know, terrorism is like one of the big charges that you can have upon you just because you are out protesting.
Yes.
And you'll find like some of these young people were not even actively involved in the process. They were just because they fit the profile of a young person, you look like you could have been protesting.
Yeah.
They take you in and charge you with arson or destruction of property and things like that. So after Sabasaba, I feel like our activity has slowed down, and not because we don't have this zeal for change, but because there's a level of disillusionment and fear that we are doing a lot, we are losing a lot, but we are not seeing the change that we'd like to see. Like the government has shown us they're willing to continue killing people, injuring people, arresting people. They don't care. So like how can we continue doing this and we are not seeing any impact of what we are doing?
Okay, then you happen to mention like people are given charges of maybe whichever the charge that they were given, like terrorism attack. And from the mention, I believe that it's a constitutional right for every citizen to air out their views.
Yeah.
Then does it mean like there is a problem with our justice system, the legal justice system?
Definitely. Look, for example, Kesia Rex Masai.
Yes.
He was killed in broad daylight.
Yeah,
Everybody
true.
knows who killed Rex Masai. And up to today, we are still at the inquest stage. We haven't even started a trial. We are still at the inquest to determine whether this person is worth being taken to trial over the death of Rex Masai. Look, for example, the case of Baby Pendo. How long did it take for it to be resolved? And look at the kind of resolution that we were given. It's like, where is the justice? We have this system that is only perfect on paper. It is said Kenya's constitution is one of the best in the country, probably the second after Japan or something.
Yes.
But if you compare what happens qua ground and what is on paper,
It's different.
It's very different. Why would you arrest a person over arson and deny them bail? Up to today, we have at least 49 young people who are still detained over the Sabasaba marches. And it's not that they have been tried and determined guilty. No, they're on remand waiting for bail hearing. This is 3-4 months down the line.
Yeah, down the line.
I've even seen a case of a young girl who's complaining on Twitter about her father.
Yes,
her
yes,
father is
I've come
being
wrongfully
accused of murder.
Yes.
And you're innocent in this country. You're innocent until proven guilty. But he has been denied bail, and this lady, they have tried all the avenues possible legally within the constitutional channels, and up to now, the dad is still being detained.
And I think from her story, she happened to mention that the hearing has been set for January.
For January, because judges are going for a break. Apparently, the judiciary is going for a break. I don't know, Christmas in Anzakalini for judiciary. So they have to wait until January. It's crazy. The justice system, the rule of law is a suggestion to the people in charge in our country, as it seems.
Then I think that's one of the cases that it puts in question. It has so many question marks when it comes to the legal justice within Kenya.
Yeah.
Because I think it's unfair, to be true, it's unfair. Because I have happened to check the story that she happened to highlight. And from the looks, it's not good.
Definitely. And it's about taking us back to if you have enough money to bribe, because a lot of people under her post, they were asking, have you bribed? Have you looked if you know so and so? So just because this family don't have connections, they are not able to bribe people. That means they're going to be denied justice.
Then from that discussion of giving out bribery and knowing so and so, I think it's we Kenyans, some of the Kenyans, we ourselves, we tend to feel this matter of corruption. Because why should, in asking for the legal, just to follow the legal procedures for something to happen fairly, why should I ask you, do you know so and so? Have you gone to so and so?
Because it has been normalized, unfortunately. That is the Kenya that we live in. It has been normalized. You'll be hard pressed to find a Kenyan in this country who has never paid bribe, to be honest. Kwa sababu, you look, for example, the traffic rules. If you break a traffic rule, a police officer is supposed to write for you an offense sheet, and then you are allowed to go about your day and present this in court or at the police station and pay whatever fine you're supposed to pay.
Fine.
But because the police have intentionally made it difficult for that process to happen, you think about ukipatikana kwa makosa, yes, unaweza kubali uko na makosa.
Yeah.
But you think about the trouble that the police are going to put you through just so that you pay them a bribe and not go through the correct channels. You're like, afadhali tu nilipe hii bribe, niendelee na siku yangu, rather than try and go through the correct process.
Yes.
And end up losing. There are people who've been arrested for days. Literally, police anakuambia hii kiburi yako utaona kalitakufikisha.
Yeah.
So you end up being detained in the police station for over a week. Eventually, you just agree to pay that bribe. So unapiga hizo hesabu za you'll try go through the correct channel, it doesn't help you. So unalipa tu bribe because it has been normalized. That is what Kenya has become right now.
Oh, Mother Kenya.
Kenya, I don't know what we are going to do, to be honest. Sometimes you think about our current situation and you almost feel hopeless.
Yeah, it tends to kill the hopes of someone who is it tends to just to kill your hopes.
Definitely.
But we are here. We shall fight for a good Kenya. We need a good Kenya. And of course, from the same discussion around the kidnapping and the killings, how do you define safety for yourself and the other activists in such a hostile environment? Because yes, I believe for you as an activist, you are facing your own challenges. For that person who is also championing for the same, they're also facing some of the other challenges. So how do you define safety?
I mean, for me, the fact that I'm able to walk on the streets, that for me is what freedom is what is important. I've been able to establish a community of HRDs and activists around me. So I know in case of any trouble, it is easy for me to make a call, sound for help, and I'll be able to get assistance. Again, the fact that people know me, if for whatever reason something ever happens to me on the streets, people will be like, that's Shakira. So we need to assist her, and that is safety for me. And I really wish a lot of people could be able to move around in our country like this. So I acknowledge that this is a privilege, and hence why I am happy to do whatever it takes to take advantage of my privilege to ensure that we are transforming Kenya to the type of country that we'd like to see.
Okay, just from the recent story that tended to happen, we had 2 activists within Kenya that happened to be in Uganda. And the president of Uganda, he came out to openly say that we had some activists from Kenya, tuliwashika na tukaweka kwa fridge for some time.
The impunity, oh God.
And it's it's something very unfortunate to happen. Yeah. And of course, it's something you see, like you find it's totally unfair to mention. It's totally unfair. So for these people, it's something that, and it took long, and even for the state to act. And for the person who tended to intervene, it's the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. So for these kind of people, how do you define safety for them? Because I think for them, it's kind of like, it was unfair, something totally unfair to them. And the foreign agencies of Kenya, they never intervened for them to be out on time.
Yeah.
Like, how is it?
Do you know there's more Kenyans currently being held in various prisons and military bases in Uganda as we speak? And one of the reasons why it wasn't easy, but Nick Oyo and Bob Jagi are now free is because they are known.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying this being known for your work and what you do is a privilege. And there's a lot of Kenyans in Uganda who are facing injustice. And not just Kenyans in Uganda, Kenyans in Kenya who up to now we don't know who they are, where they are. Their families are still looking for them. But because of their numbers and the fact that this information about them is not well known, the pressure being applied for their release or for their safe return home is not the same. So there's an unfairness to it, and it's very difficult for me to say how I would define safety, putting these things in mind. And that's why we keep working towards a democracy that works. Because in an ideal democracy, nobody, regardless of who you are, nobody is allowed to capture you and detain you without any reason. No, especially the government. The government is supposed to be the number one entity responsible for their citizens' safety and their freedom within the country. And EAC is a community. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, we are supposed to be like this one solid block.
True.
Movements within this region shouldn't be limited. Business and just making a living across the block shouldn't be limited. So to be honest, it's hard, but is our reality, unfortunately.
Then I think the East Africa community, they just tend to sit down and review everything surrounding safety.
Do you know the East African community is united in two aspects? Us as citizens who are being tunanyanyaswa, tumeungana. Look at what is happening in Tanzania right now. There's a lot of complaints already that Kenyans are the one
going to demonstrate in
Tanzania. They are the one wanachochea what is happening in Tanzania. So as citizens, we are united against this dictatorship, against the lack of true democracy and bad governance. And then on the other hand, we have the union of dictators. I mean, all injustices happening across the region. These presidents look like they're working together. Because for Museveni to say that he has put our citizens in the fridge, and the response of our government is, do not take your activism to other people's country. I mean, how do you talk as a leader in this country? How do you say, in fact, it is okay if people come to your country, arrest them and torture them so that they learn a lesson? The fact that we have an example of Maria. Maria used to live in Kenya, and it was Tanzania's government that were in cahoots with Kenya's government to try and abduct her here. And if it wasn't for the citizens of this country, Maria would have gone missing and wouldn't have known what was happening to her. So the dictators have come together and they are working together. But on the other side, the citizens have also come together and they're working together. And I feel like eventually the people's power is the one that is going to take the day. We are the majority. And we are the ones who are supposed to be protected by this region, by the government. So this dictatorship union that is happening, they should be warned. The people are arising and we're going to take over.
So we had the elections in Tanzania. Currently in Kenya, we are having the voter registration. And just to mention, with the active voter registration that is ongoing, and the official data from the Kenya youth, it says that nearly the youths of Kenya, they nearly make 75% of the population, but few are turning up for the same registration. And we know that through the voting process, that's where we tend to elect like the leader that you want. Like, who is this responsible person that you want to lead you? And so is there a movement or a strategy that you guys are coming up just to make sure that this voter registration, it reaches the 75 or closer to the 75% of the youth, because they are the majority? And the turn up in voter registration is kind of quoted to be low. So is there a strategy that you guys are coming up with just to make sure that come 2027, we are going to have a leader who is competent enough to lead us?
Yeah, a ballot revolution is what we are looking at right now. Like I mentioned earlier, being out on the streets, we are being unheard and we are suffering as a result of it. And the ballot seems to be the remaining hope that we
option
have for now. And given our level of, like, to be honest, Kenya is advanced in terms of, again, the constitution that we have on paper and where we are as a democracy. So I feel it is possible for Kenya to achieve a change through elections. Now, when it comes to voter registration, first of all, right now we have the continuous voter registration happening. So it's only happening in constituency offices across the country. First, I feel like there's voter suppression because not all of the constituency offices are actively registering voters.
Yes.
I've seen cases of people going to these offices and either they find them closed, or whoever they find there, they say they don't have the kits, or they say internet is not working. Personally, I wanted to go and change my particulars in my area, and when I went there, they said the servers have a problem. They're only registering, they are not able to change.
We are dealing with server problems.
Yeah. And then something else, these constituency offices are quite in different remote areas, so they are not easily accessible. So, but it's not we still have time. I feel like a lot of people think we still have time, and to be honest, we are yet to get a representation of alternative leadership that we can look up to and give us hope and give us the motivation to go and register to vote. Yesterday, I was in an X space, and the issue of voter registration was a conversation we were having.
Yes.
And yes, the numbers right now are disappointing, but young people are still willing to make that effort towards a ballot revolution. So the fact that we still have time, the continual voter registration is going to happen until I think early 2027.
Yeah.
And then the IBC also has to do mass voter registration.
Yes.
Now with the mass voter registration, it's going to happen in other areas aside the constituency offices. So for me personally, and I feel a lot of people, they are waiting for this, crunch time.
Last minute.
Crunch time, last minute. I feel like young people are still going to come up and vote. And what strategy we need to look at right now is offering people alternative leadership. Because when we say we want a ballot revolution, we want new leaders. So who are these leaders? We can't say we want good governance and we don't have people to select. If you look at the current people in elective positions, most of them have been in politics for years on end. So are we willing to offer ourselves as this alternative leadership and then give the people that hope that actually let us put our baskets with this guy, let us hang our hopes with these people. Hopefully they're going to change things. So I don't think we are at that point of like we are saying people are not going to vote. We were underestimated. Remember, we were called digital wankers. And
at the start of it all.
When the moment was ripe, people showed up. So I still believe in our generation, young people. When the moment is ripe, we are going to show up and make a difference.
Okay, and just apart from that, do you believe that for these people to do the voter registration, for the Gen Zs and any other person who is at the right age to carry out voting, do you think they understand like it's their right and it's under the constitution, it's their right for them to participate in this? Because I'm sure come 2027, we still have a section of them that they will not take up the voting. And given that's the feedback that something that you happen to benchmark on the 2022. Najua majority of the youth, they never voted. Because during the demonstration, you see that majority of them, they happen to say like, these are fault that our parents happen to do. We tried for you guys to go and vote, but you happen to land to fanya like, nimanguka kwa mafuta.
I mean, 2024 showed us that right now, the average Kenyan right now is not the same average Kenyan that we had back in 2022, to be honest. There's this political awakening and conscientization that happened as a result of the Reject Finance Bill protest, and that's what we intend to ride on up to 2027. In as much as the current political class are doing their best, wanamwaga pesa, wanaendelea, like we have a president who's not a president in the office. He's busy on the streets campaigning and talking
giving
to
out
people.
money.
So they are making an effort, but the average Kenyan right now, si wale wa kudanganyika, tunasema wajinga waliisha, and it is now a matter of converting this political conscientization to a tangible result with the election. So again, when the moment is right, trust you me, Kenyans are going to come out in large numbers, and they're going to register to vote, and they're going to select leaders who are willing to serve the interests of the common mwananchi. What we cannot do is underestimate the efforts being put by the current political class, because they have everything to lose, literally. They have the power, they have money, they have all this access currently. So if we are to take this away from them, think about this person who's protecting everything that they have.
Yes.
So they have everything to lose, but the upside, we have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
So we have to give it our all. Because, I mean, what is that saying that we had rather die standing up with our decencies and our dignity as human beings, rather than agree to die, to fall knees. On our knees and live like that.
Okay, manze, I hope come that time tujitokeze vizuri sana.
I believe Wakenya na waaminia. Imagine after 2024, I believe we are going to show up and we are going to make the necessary change. And also look at, like, even there's some sort of wave that is happening, not just in Kenya, but across the world. Look at what happened in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in South Korea. It's time. Young people have said it is our time. They keep telling us we are leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is here.
Yeah, tomorrow is here.
And we are people who have understood the certain levels of living standards.
Yes.
That is, it is basic. Basic. Everyone deserves to at least get that basic level of human dignity. And we are not that lot to sit back and watch as injustices continue to happen.
Okay, Shakira, let me ask you this. Along this line, as you fight for justice, along your activism line, do you at some point, do you feel discouraged? Like, what's that one thing that tends to reignite you back to your personal drive, so that you continue with the process of fighting for justice?
I do feel discouraged sometimes. I mean, it's part of the human experience. I remember back towards the end of last year, that's when the abductions were at its peak and forced disappearance, Nini, and Akina Kibet Bull. They were being held, and we were trying to like do petitions across different institutions, and then planning for a protest. And that's when I noticed that I was being monitored by, like, physically, and that we had planned the protest for 30th, and that morning I woke up with this deep, heavy feeling of sadness, because we were out protesting in June, we are out protesting in July, August. Here we are in December. The year is coming to an end, and things are actually they felt like worse than they had been previously.
Yes.
But one of my colleagues, I had spoken to her, and I was telling her, I'm not coming out of the house. She was like, Shakira, you can't do this. Imagine your life depends on it. I've never forgotten that statement. Literally, not just my life, my family's life, my son's life, and all Kenyans' lives depend on it, because you could be literally sitting in your house and you're going to die because of impunity. You're going to be killed by, they call it a stray bullet, but a bullet that has been fired cannot be stray. Regardless of who it lands on, it was fired as a result of impunity. You could be living your life, you get cancer, but you go to hospital and they tell you your cancer is not progressed enough for us to offer you services as SHA. There was a story of a lady, literally, aliambiwa your cancer is not advanced enough, go sit at home, come back after a while, we see whether you qualify to be served by SHA. Like, there's the case of this gentleman who lost his wife because she had given birth and there was no blood she was over bleeding and there was no blood that she could be given, and she died as a result of, literally, it's our lives at stake. There's so much deaths that can be avoided because of the level of impunity that's happening in governance. And that statement is what keeps me going. Anytime I feel like I do not have the energy or I cannot show up anymore, I remember our lives are at stake, and you don't have to wait for death to come knocking at your door so that you can intervene or speak up or make a comment. And like I mentioned earlier, I have a community of strong human rights advocates around me who allow me to reminding me why we are showing up, what we are working towards, and also who allow me to take a break. Like as a human being, it reaches a point where you are actually literally, physically, emotionally, and mentally tired. And when you reach certain points, there's nothing you can achieve. So the fact that they allow me to take a step back, recuperate, rest, spend some time in, peace, quiet, not solving problems and putting out fires everywhere, and then come back energetic with resolve to continue with this fight. It's those two aspects are what keep me going.
Okay, and just to dwell on the same question, all along the process, like, this person, we are with this person fighting for the same cause, and all along the line, you see, like, they tend to change their trend. They take another, like, they tend to deviate. I don't know, tunaita wasaliti, mtu amekusaliti. Like, I know this thing, it tends to, like, does it tend to discourage you from the cause?
Definitely, it's discouraging. First of all, you feel like, oh, we have been through this together. These are the efforts that we did together, and then you decide to cross over to the other side. That is somebody who has given up. Who has given up on the hope that Kenya can be better, who has given up on the efforts that we as citizens are putting towards ensuring that there is accountability in governance and justice. And so I feel, to be honest, I feel pity on them. So if I look at it that way, I don't feel as bad and as sad as one would say, because I mean, how do you just give up? And then you don't have a spine to stand firmly on the values that you believe in. But also there are people who from the word go, their goal was selfish interest. So over time, this has been revealed to us. So just console yourself with the point that they were never part of us in the first. To begin with, they were just pretending and riding a wave.
Wanasema ni mbweha amevalia ngozi ya kondo.
Ndio hivyo kabisa.
And of course, for some of them, they mention like them joining on the table. Like, wanataka kuingia hapo serikalini, we want to see ourselves there. Like, it's some sort of collaboration so that they can be heard. So just to ask you this question, do you think this aspect of convergence and collaboration, how does it tends to be something unfortunate for the Gen Z? Then what's the best way, like, for you are opposing that thing? Like, it's being unfair. What's the best thing, like a way to make a better political change in the country, given that collaboration and convergence is something like it doesn't work for the majority of the Gen Zs?
There's that statement a lot of people like saying that you cannot change anything until you're within the system. But look at individuals who have gone to try and effect change within the system. Hao ndo tunaita wasaliti. Hao ndo tunasema they have lost their way and strayed, and now they have become part of the oppressors. The thing is, the way Kenya has become currently, it is difficult to effect change within the system. Once you join, it is either you collaborate or you exit. There's no other way. And that's why when we talk about the ballot revolution, we need new leaders across all levels. We are not just saying Ruto must go because we want another president. No, we are saying Ruto must go because the type of impunity and governance he represents is what we do not need. So we are selecting new leaders from MCA, women rep, senator, governor, and now who else? It's 6 posts, the members of parliament, and then the president. We cannot effect change if we are changing the president and then we return the same members of parliament to parliament. And we cannot effect change if we are electing new members of parliament, and then the head na MCAs huku chini are the same people. No, we need a complete overhaul.
Change,
Tukisema drain the swamp, tukisema fagia water. This is what you need. Our house is dirty.
Yes.
Look at now the concept of a dirty house. When you're cleaning a house, you don't clean one specific spot
or in a certain circumference and leave the
everywhere
other
else and say you are in a clean house. That house is still dirty. So kama utafagia, you fagia everywhere. You fagia kila kitu so that the entire area is clean. And that for me, I don't feel it's possible to say I'm going into the system so that I can change the system from within. The system as it is right now, if you're one person, it's like a drop in the ocean.
Yes.
You add one fresh drop in the saline ocean. The ocean is still saline.
Yeah,
so you just
saline.
need to drain the swamp kabisa and then start afresh.
Fagia water.
Fagia water. I keep repeating fagia water, and this is something even in the last election.
Yes.
The theme fagia water was there, but I don't think a lot of Kenyans were able to relate with it as much.
Yeah, with the theme.
I am hopeful that come the next general election,
it works out.
We can work out. And to be honest, this the kind of change that I'm talking about is somewhat idealistic. To be honest, we can't say we will achieve 100% of it in 2027, but 2027 is going to be a step towards
closer
right
to the
direction.
goal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We say we initially, that's the goal that we have in 2027, tusongea karibu. And of course, just to ask you this one, along the process, we are having young, these are the agencies or new faces coming up to say like, come 2027, I want to champion for this, I want to campaign for these seats. I want to bring this kind of change because we are tired with having these old faces. We tend to recycle the same kind of being within the political sphere. And so the young people, they are quoted to be disruptive with the agency demonstrations. As much as tulisema the demonstrations, as equal specific for agencies, it was generation zote for any person who wants change. So they say that they're kind of disruptive because of how they advocate for their issues, how they give out their grievances. So a number of them are championing for the same elective seats. Right from the MCAs, and I see like we even to the presidential seats, we are having new faces coming up. How do they package themselves in a manner like that? Come that time, they're able to win these kind of seats, or they're able to be elected in these kind of positions, and they're also able to convince the masses like, yes, as much as we are championing for or giving our issues in this manner, we are able to address the same kind of issues that are affecting the people. So how are they able to package themselves in a manner that is not seen as disruptive, more so by the other generations, given that they have been there, like the millennials, the Gen Evo. Yes.
Yeah. Being called disruptive. First of all, yes. We are disruptive because we are destroying the status quo as it is. We want to disrupt the systems as they are and bring about something new that we feel is going to actually serve the interests of the common mwananchi. But the way disruptive is being used, it's propaganda.
Yeah.
Even the way Gen Z started, it was started to kind of delegitimize what people were out on the streets doing. Yes, majority of us on the streets were young people.
Yes.
But because it's a reflection of our current population, majority of us are young people.
Are youth.
But we had Gen Z, we had millennials. If anything, I feel like the biggest contributors towards the 2024 protest, it was actually millennials. But we also have our parents' generation as well. Wanaitwa ni boomers ama wanaitwa akina nani?
The boomers.
Because a lot of us young people, we are unemployed. We don't have like this access to finances, but there was money. Remember, Kenyans raised over almost 30 million, I believe.
Yeah, during
the protest to cater for funeral and medical expenses. Where was this money coming from? These are individuals who are not necessarily young, but they believed in the cause of what young people were out on the streets doing. We were out on the streets and we were being given food for free.
For free.
We were given water for free, masks. There was medical aid, first aid being provided on the streets. Not everyone was a young person. So I don't think a youthful leader is hard to package. There are people across all generations are already sold with the fact that young people are willing to effect change.
Yes.
So what we are supposed to do is continue with the political education, continue with the political conscientization, so that Kenyans do not allow themselves to be wooed back, because it is wooing the current political class is doing, to be wooed back, to allow themselves to vote for these people again. We've already seen there are people who are not willing to serve the interests of the common mwananchi.
Yes.
They do not care about how much they steal, how much they kill, so long as they remain in this state of power and whatever. So it is just ensuring that Kenyans do not forget. This memory has to be kept alive.
Yeah, true.
So selling the young alternative new leader is not going to be difficult. It is combating now the efforts of the current political class. And I feel like it's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, it's possible.
But also remember, youthfulness is not a qualification to be the alternative leaders, because we have seen, again, when you wanaitwa wasaliti, when you wameenda wamepotoka njia, they're still most of them are young people. So we as a country, we need to identify what is these values that are going to bring us together, and what are these values that we are going to aspire. Because if we say youthfulness is the only qualification when it comes to leadership, even currently in parliament, we have a Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association.
Yeah.
All the people in that association are young people. What have they done for this country? Yeah.
Oh yeah, so for those people that want to go for those elective seats, msiogope, go for it.
Definitely.
Yeah, mutapata tuzo viti. And given that we are having a faulty legal justice system, and we are living in a country that is having so many issues, right from the bottom till the upper level. So based on your experience, what is the most effective way to hold those in power accountable for their actions?
Memory. Like I said, memory. At the current government as it is, there is no getting justice with the current regime.
Yeah.
So documenting everything and not forgetting, so that eventually, when it is the people who have the upper hand, we actually go for justice, prosecute these individuals, ensure that our stolen property and resources are returned, those who are responsible for killings and injuries and all those nasty things to be prosecuted and punished. So for now, the most important thing is documenting and not for Kenyans. Never forget,
Tusisahau.
because even though justice is delayed, because at this point it is being delayed, honestly, we have to ensure that justice is served.
But sasa wanasema, even with the change that is coming, you see, like majority of the people, when we go to the election, they have that fear of tunaenda kupiga kura, because someone feels like I'm going to vote, but maybe voting was already done. So it's the same person who has been there, anaenda tu kukuwa recycled. Na sasa mtu atapataje haki kama mwewe ndo hakimu kwenye kesi ya kuku?
You know, when we say active participation in elections, it's not just going to vote.
Yeah.
We need election observers. We need people to actually guard the votes. Given how election actually functions in this country, it's difficult to rig an election across all levels. And I mean, the way we've seen political parties existing and working, they're more of like groupings to separate us.
Yes.
So if a certain political party wants to rig, they will focus on whatever level they want to rig. They can't rig across all levels. So when we are saying we are participating in elections, it's not just showing up to vote. Those people who are going to be employed to work for IEBC, Sini wa Kenya kama sisi. So why you who has qualified and has been selected to work for the IEBC, why would you not do your work the way you are supposed to do? So that's why I'm saying political conscientization and education, civic education needs to continue so that this person who's employed by the IEBC can actually fulfill their mandate the way they are supposed to be and not allow themselves to be bribed so that they can rig the election or rig whatever process. And then election observers and guarding the vote. It's not just ati tumeenda kuvote, kila mtu amevote, ameweka voters cards zake hapo na akarudi nyumbani kukaa na ngojea results announce. We need to have people on our side who are going to guard the vote to ensure that the number of people who voted is the number of votes being counted, and how people actually vote is how it is transmitted. If we do that, if we show up to vote and we guard our vote, it's going to be very difficult to rig the election.
Okay. Just my next question is kind of related to whatever response that you happen to give, but just for more for you to expand on it more. In 2007, we had the post-election violence. Come the year 2013, we happened to do a re-election because it was quoted we had election rigging. And yes, I know to some of the people they said, it happened. In 2022, we happen to have just in Bomas, whatever that happened, it's happened. And right now we are looking forward to 2027, whereby we are targeting to have an election. According to you, what does a successful election look like? And beyond just the absence of that violence, how does it look like?
First of all, Bomas of Kenya, purpose ya Bomas of Kenya ni nini? We are to follow elections the way they are supposed to be. Akufai kuwa na Bomas of Kenya.
Bomas of Kenya.
Because votes are counted at the constituency level
levels
and announced at the constituency level. So in mchezo ya Bomas of Kenya, first of all, I don't think we should allow it to happen. But high chances, because given the current IBC, all of them, they were selected by our current president. So it is anyway ni kazi ngumu. We have an uphill task, but I feel like we are up to, like we can do it. And there's also that fear of what has happened in Tanzania, for example, because Suluhu aliamua kuji-announce as a landslide winner of the presidential seat, and akasema 32 million people voted, and she got, I think, 31 million.
31 million.
And those votes were counted within one day, apparently. And we saw what happened. Majority of the country never even voted in the first place.
Yeah.
So if we organize as citizens of this country, we'll have a majority of us as the people against that political class, against that oligarchy that is determined to maintain the status quo. It is going to be a lot of work, but we need to realize when we realize and understand how big of a task we have ahead, we can get ready, can gear up, belt our trousers, and put in efforts.
Okay, with the unfortunate that tended to happen in Tanzania, Najua Suluhu, we don't know like whom she competed against.
She didn't compete against anyone. There are actually 17 names on the ballot, on the presidential list, but probably 15 of them were churas kutoka CCM. Ni chura wake tu wamekwa hapo kuzua watu, and I don't think Kenya can get to that level, to be honest, because Tanzania is still working with the old constitution. In Kenya, we've had the privilege of being able to have the constitution 2010, and currently it's not hopeless. Tanzanians haven't lost hope. They're still organizing, and we are doing our best to offer our support through digital spaces, through creating awareness of what is happening in Tanzania, and invoking different institutions to ensure that there's actually what is the term? I don't know. Sometimes when I speak Kizungu inapotea as appropriate terms, but to conduct an investigation either through the UN, the AU, the SADC Union, to do an investigation and to form an interim government, to like almost what happened to us during the post-election violence with Kofi Annan coming in, to ensure that actually Tanzanians get the change that they need. Because for them right now, their biggest thing is they need a new constitution.
Yes, yeah,
the
true.
current constitution as it is very impunitive. It doesn't consider what, like, it is more colonial set than it is towards democracy. I actually came to learn recently in Tanzania that once an election has been declared, you cannot contest it in court. In Kenya, at least you're able to contest an election in court. And I feel that is why Suluhu was in such a hurry to, declare that she has won. So for people to realize the power that they hold as a people, the fact that our constitution starts with all sovereign power belongs to the people, should be motivation enough.
Okay, but when you tend to visualize the occurrence of events within Kenya, it's something that happened to some points, and it's something that is there. Ni kama kuna kaukoloni fulani kama Afrika mwenyewe.
Yeah.
We attend to, like, someone is coming up with some sort of dictatorship. You see, like, whatever that is happening in Uganda, it's some sort of, it's just dictatorship. Whatever that has happened in Tanzania, it's dictatorship that is there. So, like, moving to 2027, whatever that happened there, and we saw, like, the deputy president from Kenya happened to be in Tanzania during the swearing in of Suluhu, of Samia Suluhu. So you tend to visualize, is it something like coming 2027 in Kenya? Because this is an East African effect. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania.
Yeah.
Sasa it's happening in Uganda, it has happened in Tanzania, and it's awaits to happen in Kenya. So is it something like we expect we are going to have some rigging, like kutakuwa na ukora mwingi wa kura just because of someone wants to remain in power?
Yeah.
And given that now in Kenya, I don't think if we have an opposition, the opposition is within the people themselves. Yeah. It's with the people themselves that tend to finger point to the government. So is this something that we also expect to happen in Kenya? Kutakuwa na wizi wa kura. Are they new fated that they are going to come up? Zinaenda kunyamazishwa in some way? Ama how should we look at it?
That's why I keep saying it is up to Kenyans to organize. We cannot underestimate what the current regime is capable of doing to remain in power. And if worse comes to worse and it is obvious the elections are rigged and the regime is not willing to hand over power, then whatever is happening in Tanzania is probably what is going to happen in Kenya. And we do not hope for that situation.
Yeah.
So it is organizing to ensure that that situation is very difficult for the political class to achieve. I know poverty is the enemy, and there's a lot of money that is being poured. There's handouts, and people, like, even in the last protest, the way goons attack, those goons, some of them are people we know.
Yeah.
They're people we know, but then they're like, this money that we've been given, I think some of them were given 500, some of them 1,000, some of them 2,000. Like, I had one of them literally show me 1,000 note, and he was like, this 1,000 is the only one I have held this year. Na tulikuwa June. June is the 6th month. Ameshika note ya 1,000 for the first time. But it is the situation, like, it is poverty. So to organize to the level where people are not willing to be bought easily. Like, kuna watu husema take the money but don't do what you have been paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how possible that is, but if we are serious and meticulous about our organizing and planning towards the next general election, even taking that 1,000 and joining the masses to ensure that we actually have a free and fair election, it's going, I mean, these people are going home anyway. These people are going to be eventually be punished, be tried and prosecuted and punished for their lack of accountability and their impunity.
Yeah.
So maintaining that sharp focus, educating people, engaging people civically, and organizing towards the next general election, it's ideal. It's like my thoughts. I'm aware. I'm very idealistic, but it's possible if everybody decides this is what we want and this is what we are going to work towards. It's possible, and having that knowledge that this is what the government could do helps us even prepare different efforts towards countering. And coming to organize will require unity. And I feel like that is what we lack right now.
True.
As citizens. We have fragmented ourselves into different groups, and even those individuals who are considered frontliners during the Gen Z protests right now. A lot of them are not working together. So it is up to us to overlook these small differences that we have and decide as progressive members of this society, as progressive leaders, how do we come together? How do we work together and organize to ensure that we actually have a force? You've mentioned we don't have an opposition. The opposition is within the people. But the opposition that we have is not effective because we are not united. So how do we come together to organize and ensure that we actually form a formidable force against the political class as it is right now?
Okay, and you happen to mention the aspect of unity. So in your opinion, do you think we have a section of the Gen Z that are kind of divided in opinion on the basis of the tribe lines?
On tribal lines? I don't think so. I mean, tribalism is being pushed on us. We are being forced to inhale, breathe, live tribalism. But I don't think that's a divide that is going to be effective this time round. First of all, a lot of us are intermixed. Because of the intertribal marriages, and many of us are within urban setups. So even in as much as somebody could be Luo, somebody could be Luya, Kikuyu, they don't even identify
themselves
with their tribal and cultural identity to that extent, to the extent of they will alienate another tribe because of who they are. But the Odipo report, I think it was last week, but one showed that there's active efforts towards pushing tribalism. And again, being aware and being united and organizing against such propaganda and efforts is the only way out.
And I think the issue of the tribal lines is something like it's being brought up by the political class that is currently there. Because I believe like kuna tu mtu akitoka, mwanasiasa akitoka tu hapa akisimama mahali maybe in Kiambu or whichever region, like the first thing like ata mention like sisi Waluya, sisi wa Kikuyu, sisi wa Kale, sijui this and this. And I believe like carrying that notion, given that like majority of the people that they tend to be affected by this, those people like within the rural setting, wako ukule ushago, because your daily life tends to revolve around there. The people that you are going to meet, kama it's a Luya setting, the people that you are going to interact most with, the Luyas. If you are a Kikuyu, within a Kikuyu setting, people that you are going to interact with most, the Kikuyus. And just to mention, within the same setting, we have Gen Zs. Na sijui kama if they identify themselves like, anasema like, ai, uyo ni nani, uyo ni Muluya, ama some sort of that. And I believe like it's something that we Kenyans, we ourselves, we need to come up like, say no to such a thing. Haijalishi kwenye unatoka, like someone who is able to lead, like how hold all the capacities to be a good leader, like they just need to be given that chance to lead properly. Definitely. Okay, moving on to our next, given like surrounding all these spaces, you've been in the demonstrations in the streets, you've had all the online abuse, your personal life has been kind of like you've had that infringement, you've been denied your private life. How do you protect your mental and emotional well-being while confronting all the issues of the daily issues? Yeah.
Uh,
Najua hapo ndo kuna changamoto.
Definitely, but this is actually an area I thrive in. Like I said, I'm a fitness instructor,
Yeah.
and I went into exercise for my own personal benefit as intervention because I was having some mental problems, and
Yes.
I saw how effective physical activity is. So my initial advocacy in the first place was about wellness, mental health, and general wellness.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm in the fitness space, it really helps a lot. I fight with weights and dumbbells and barbells, and that is one of the ways I use to maintain sanity. I'm also heavy on meditation.
Yes.
I do take time, usually first thing in the morning after waking up. Just take a few minutes with myself to self-reflect and introspect. I literally ask myself, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? And identifying whatever emotions that I have and deciding how I am going to move throughout the day with
Yeah.
these emotions that I currently have. Something again that I mentioned is having a strong community around me. I have friends, I have family, and they support me not just as a human rights advocate, but as an individual. I have very strong relationships with my family and friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like having a support system is something very important, because even when your own internal self cannot help you be strong, cannot help you push, you have outside voices clapping for you, encouraging you, and telling you to continue. And again, knowing when to take a break.
Yeah.
This mentality of I have to be the one doing it, and if it's not me, nobody else can do it.
Nobody
It
else
has
can.
never helped anyone.
Yes.
You're just sacrificing yourself, and then you end up suffering. And to be honest, if, for example, God forbid, I was to drop down dead right now, does the earth stop spinning? No.
No.
Life will continue, and within a short while, I'll be forgotten. So knowing when to step back, take a break, to take care of myself, being active, physically active, and having a strong support system.
Okay. Okay. Just to come to this question, surrounding the same work of activism and everything that entails activism, what are some of the common misconceptions about the same work that you would like to correct, given that the public, it holds a different face to like activists? Yeah.
Oh wow. A lot of people believe that activism is a profession. Like, to make a commercial activist, paid activist, and that you're making money and balling because you're an activist. First of all, there's no such thing as commercial activism. Looking at the risks involved, I mean, you could be killed, you could be injured, a life altering form of injury. Like, there's risks not just on yourself as an individual, but to your family.
Yes.
If you have a spouse, your parents, if you have children, like, you're exposing them to these same levels of risks just by the mere fact that they are closely associated or related to you. So if you think about the levels of risks that we expose ourselves to, how much money do you imagine would be enough for somebody to agree, these risks are okay, so long as I'm earning this amount of money, then I'm happy to expose myself to this risk. It's you can't put a number, to be honest. And if you were to put the number, it would be a very high number. And the fact that people assume I'm earning a living out of this is even it has made me poor almost, because people come to you with all their problems and they expect that you're going to contribute, you're going to help them solve these problems financially. And a lot of people forget I am a young person. I am in university. I am a mother, a single mother. People keep repeating, I am a single mother at that. I do work part-time, but because of the amount of time I put towards activism and advocacy, even the amount of time I spend working to actually earn a living has been reduced, has been limited. So to be honest, I have become poorer because of my activity, because of my vocalness within the advocacy space. So that's the biggest misconception people have about activism. Yes, there are perks because now I am known, now I'm able to walk into rooms and spaces because of who I am and because of the work that I do.
Yeah.
But nobody pays me to do this. And if for whatever reason these perks were to stop, I wouldn't stop anyway. I would continue doing what I know I can. I keep saying it's just showing up the way you can in whatever way you are able to, doing your best towards whatever cause that you believe in. And if money comes, it comes. Last year, was it last year? Last year and even this year, there was a certain point Kenyans sent me money. And it wasn't kidogo money. If we have 100,000 people sending you 5 shillings each, you have 500,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yes, that's a lot.
And that's just, if you look at the scale of things, 5 bob is not much to you.
Yeah.
But 5 bob here, there, it comes. And somebody is just saying, thank you for the work that you're doing. Keep going. So that's I haven't heard anyone who's been rich because of being an activist. And the term commercial activist or paid activism is just a fallacy that is used to almost like a propaganda against vocal human rights advocates and activists, so that it's used to counter almost the work that they do.
And just to ask you this one, do you believe there are paid activists, that people are doing activism and they're paid? There's a specific organization paying people for activism?
Not that I have interacted with, but for example, if we look at all the common organizations and different companies in the civic spaces that exist, they employ people because, I mean, work needs to be done. You need managers, you need people to go to do the groundwork, you need people to account for whatever activity, like how funds are spent, and you do have people who get grants and financiers and what is again, the term has disappeared from my mind, but money is usually directed towards certain campaigns and certain funds, because at the end of the day we live in a capitalistic society. It is hard to do anything without money. It is hard to do anything without resources. So there are people who are paid to do certain things within the advocacy space. And would you call them paid activists? I don't think so, because they need to live. They need to buy food. They need to pay rent. They need to pay for their transport. So, and most of these people, again, they are people who, even if they were not being paid, they would still do the job that they are doing. So does that qualify as paid activism? I don't know. It's for people to decide. Okay,
and I think people need to clear that notion of activism in a leap.
Definitely. I think also it's the fact that institutions, for example, the Ford Foundation.
I think they just come in to support the same campaigns.
That they are known to support a lot of NGOs and CBOs, and the fact that as an entity, Ford Foundation is known to be very financially strong. People assume it directly reflects to whatever campaigns that are being supported by the same people. But again, we live in a capitalist society and people need to earn a living. And if how you're earning a living is also contributing towards a better society, I mean, why not?
Okay, I think that's well cleared. And coming to a final, Given that we are moving forward toward the 2027 elections, we are coming to tunafikia ile kiwango ya kura where we are going to change, maybe carry out the change that we want.
Yeah.
What's your last take, given like we have the activists, we have the youth that are going to participate, we still have the people that are championing for a better representation. What's your final take to them?
It's not about your job description or being a human rights advocate or being an activist. No, we are Kenyans, and Kenya should be our business, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you do in your day-to-day. And that's why I like introducing myself as an active citizen, because I show up within the spaces that I already occupy. As a mother, politically conscientizing my son, he grows up knowing right from wrong, truth from false, knowing, like, my son is 7, but he knows Ruto must go, and he knows why Ruto must go. As a fitness instructor, showing up in the gym, it's because of wellness, physical activity, and having my clients understand why it is important to show up for ourselves physically, but also at the same length. While we are deeply engaged in physical activity, we also get to talk about the state of our country. So there is a level of engagement that I'm able to do within that space. I'm also a student in university. The conversations that we have with my colleagues, with my friends, and even with our lecturers. The lecturers had striked for over 49 days. And when they initially told us that they are going to strike, we were like, yes, strike. It is within your right to be paid the amount of money that you have worked for. And the fact that you have a CBA that has not been fulfilled since 2017, we support you. And I was tweeting, I was making posts on TikTok and on X, supporting the strike and encouraging the lecturers to continue until they get what they were striking about. So just finding ways within our day-to-day lives to show up, to continue with these conversations, and to encourage the change that we'd like to see. Mimi, if you're around me, there's no way you're going to litter and I see you littering and I leave you. You will take that piece of paper. Even if we're in a car, you're going to stop, exit the car and go take that piece of paper. Because we say we want a clean environment. We want to control climate change, but you're the first person throwing plastic outside the window. So it's things like that. Being an active citizen, because being involved with what is happening in governance affects you. And imambo ya kusema ati, oh, I don't do politics, siasa say no. If siasa affects you like your day-to-day activity, the cost of bread, the amount of money you're paying for transport, the amount of interest that you get when you borrow money from the bank, it is all related to what is happening in governance. The fact that somebody can lose their lives within your community and people will spend years and nobody is punished for such a crime, it is because of the impunity that is happening in governance. So if we all recognize our roles as citizens of this country, we leave these labels of activists, advocates, what we understand. If we get accountable governance, if there's justice, it's going to serve all of us, not a select few.
Okay, all right. So it's everyone's responsibility for a better change. It is
responsibility, It is not just up to wale
ndo wapiganie.
Kwanza, I usually, if anybody comes to my, because I get this a lot, anybody calls me or DMs me and says, ati si nyinyi mu complain about this, or si nyinyi mufanye hivi, I'm like, nyinyi, who are you referring to as nyinyi? You as a human being, you as a Kenyan, what have you done within your space to ensure that whatever you want us to do is being called out?
All right, thank you, Shakira, for having you on this discussion. And I bet it was an amazing one. And to our listener, asante sana.